So the big dance gets underway officially tonight, but let's be honest, I wouldn't bet either one of these games, even if you paid me. I could care less about them. No, the real money to be made tonight and tomorrow, it's in what I call the minor league tournaments, in the NIT, and the College Insider, and the CBI tournaments. That's where you make money tonight and tomorrow, next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, because the odds makers are totally focused on the big dance, the marquee games, Thursday and Friday, and throughout the weekend. You're going to find the soft numbers. You're going to find the bad lines. You're going to be able to make the money and do what I always say, concentrate the most where the odds makers concentrate the least, and that's on these minor league tournaments. Now, I'll be the first to admit, though, the thing that makes these smaller tournaments the harder games to bet and the tougher ones to find winners in is that they are, in essence, the runner-up tournaments. They're for the teams that make the big dance. So you always have to question a team's motivation. Do they care about the games? From the coaching staff, to the schools, to the fans, to the teams themselves. So that's something you always have to factor into your decision when you're handicapping the games. Hey everyone, Al DeMarco here, and this is going to be your Tuesday video report. And I'm going to talk about perhaps the biggest game going tonight in the minor league tournament, and that is the number one seed in the NIT. Syracuse hosting, ironically, or perhaps not so ironically enough, NC Greensboro. Last night, cashed in with another complimentary play as I gave you the Denver Nuggets taking care of business against the LA Lakers, and that free pick coming up in just a moment. In terms of your playing games tonight, I just want to note a little correction. By the way, all the handicappers have their brackets available, and you could check them out here on the site, and you'll get my complete run through from A to Z, and I'll take you through my bracket picks and why I picked every single team as I get to my final four selections on the video that's over on the bracket page. I do want to note one very, very small correction. Unfortunately, when they posted my bracket, one of tonight's playing games, I actually like Kansas State over Wake Forest, but it does say Wake Forest, but big deal. To be honest with you, I think it's a pick-em game one way or another. The last time I won a game involving Kansas State was probably like 1997, but, again, in the other game tonight, I actually like New Orleans a little bit. I had handicapped the New Orleans game against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Say that three times quickly. Go ahead. I dare you. In the championship game of their conference on Sunday. And I wasn't surprised New Orleans won in a close game, and I actually do like them to win the playing game tonight against Mount St. Mary's. But again, I wouldn't bet either one of those games, even if you paid me. But all the brackets and stuff are over there on the other page because I really believe that as a handicapper, especially in my case, a guy who has followed all these teams from November forward, a guy who does extensive research, not only the games that I'm betting, but on so many teams on an every single day basis throughout the college basketball season, that inherently gives me an advantage over most people out there that don't pay attention to so many teams. And you realize that I'm a firm believer that you have got to have 24 to 26 wins coming out of that first round. Out of the first two, well, it's now the second round officially, but in the first 2 days of the tournament, in order to have a successful bracket and have a successful chance and a run to make some money if you're in a bracket pool. And to do so, you've got to hit a lot of those smaller games. Everybody can pick, for the most part, the top 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds because you're familiar with those teams. But it's the smaller teams and those tougher matchups. Those are the ones that you've got to be successful on your bracket pools in order to have success as the tournament advances. So anyway, that's all over on the other page. Let's talk about this game tonight between Syracuse and NC Greensboro. Jim Boeheim. The one word that comes to mind when I think of this guy is the word smug. Okay? Smug. Think about it. Jim Boeheim. Smug. I think he's just a jackass. Okay? Never met him. Never covered a game involving Syracuse when I was a reporter. Okay, never. I just look at him and I think, what a smacked ass he is. Everything is about him and, the Orange were so slighted. Hey, maybe if you didn't go 2-11 on the road, maybe you would have gotten an invite to the dance this year. The fact is you were an 18-14 team and you lost a lot of games against bad teams this year and you didn't deserve an invite. Tough luck. Before I get to the analysis of the game, let me just remind you of a couple of things about the NIT tournament. They use the NIT kind of like as a testing ground for a couple of different changes in rules, sometimes they implement them the following season. So keep this in mind. Instead of having two halves, you are going to have 4 10-minute quarters throughout the NIT this postseason, 4 10-minute quarters. What's going to happen is at the end of each of the quarters, well, actually, at the end of the first and the third quarters, okay, you're going to have the total fouls being reset to 0. So instead of having 7 team fouls as you do in each half, you're going to get 4 team fouls per quarter. And instead of having a 1-on-1 foul shooting situation at the 7th foul called and 2 shots automatically rewarded at the 10th foul in a single half, now you get 2 free throws awarded at the 4th foul in any 10-minute quarter. If the game goes to overtime, the foul limit will be 3 for each 5-minute overtime session. Now, the other rule, and it's a minor one, but I'll tell you what the implication will be in just a second. The other one is the shot clock's going to reset at 20 seconds instead of 30 when the ball is inbounded in the front court. Now, these rule changes are meant to accelerate the pace of the game, and by increasing the tempo, you're going to increase the possessions, which they feel will increase the scoring in the games. So, from our perspective, what does that mean? More possessions, more scoring opportunities, perhaps higher totals. Something to consider. Okay, let's talk about this game. Now, the irony, as I alluded to earlier in the report, is that, after the ACC tournament was played in New York City, at Jim Boeheim said that it should always be played in big cities, and of course he had to take his big swipe at Greensboro. What was his exact quote? "There's no value to playing in Greensboro, none." And then I loved it on the Twitter feed. The city of Greensboro tweeted back that, and this is a great one, and I quote, "We kindly disagree, but I guess you can lose in the first round anywhere. At least it's a quick ride home." Boom! You got to love the city of Greensboro, whoever wrote that one back, right? Because Syracuse is 0-3 in the ACC tournament since joining the conference a few years back. So the bottom line is this. You've got a NC Greensboro team that hails from the Big South Conference, who lost its championship game to East Tennessee State 79-74 back on March 6th. It was the East Tennessee State squad that they beat twice during the regular season. What can I tell you? You got a Syracuse team that was 18-14. They, of course, dominated at home in ACC play. Their only loss coming against Louisville. Last win was a 90-61 over Georgia Tech. Before that was that buzzer-beating three-pointer when they knocked off Duke 78-75. 8-1 overall in ACC home play. Beat Florida State by 9. Beat Virginia by 4. They took care of business. That's the bottom line. 16-3 at the Carrier Dome. And NC Greensboro arrived on Monday, so even though they had the blizzard and stuff, this game is going to be played tonight. May not be many fans there because who the hell really cares about this game? That's ultimately the thing. And again, do the teams care about this game? The other thing that always I have to take in consideration when I'm handicapping these minor league tournaments is the time that has elapsed between the smaller teams when they last played in their conference tournaments and when they are making their postseason debut. In this case, as I said, NC Greensboro last played March 6th. Syracuse just played a few days ago at the end of last week. So although NC Greensboro has had more practice time, they're the ones that didn't know their postseason fate until Sunday night, hopped on a plane, arrived on Monday. Not that they had more preparation time than Syracuse to prepare against the opponent, but they certainly have been idle and off the floor. So you have two schools of thought. They had that extra practice time following a loss to work on their game, or you have a team, in Syracuse's case, that had been getting real game action, but is not as rested. I don't know. I really don't know after all these years which is more of a benefit. The bottom line in this game is you've got a line that is 12 and a half points. You got a Syracuse team that is going to come out and play Boeheim's patented 2-3 zone. How do you beat that 2-3 zone? One of two ways. You either have to have big men in the post, if you're going to be able to throw the ball inside and work the ball down low. Well, NC Greensboro doesn't have that. Or you've got to be an exceptionally good three-point shooting team. You've got to be able to hit from the outside. Well, that's what NC Greensboro does best. I had a stat here for NC Greensboro, a team that won 25-9 this season. They 40% of their shots from the field came from beyond the three-point arc, and they hit at a 38.8% clip. So you have a Syracuse team that had its heart set on making the dance. You have an NC Greensboro team that says they feel personally offended by Boeheim's comments. You have a team in NC Greensboro that really thought it should have won the Big South Conference Championship and got upset by a team that it beat twice during the regular season. But I give Greensboro a fighting chance because of their long-range shooting. And I think that this one, 12 and a half points, it's a margin that they can stay within. But if Syracuse wants to, Syracuse can win this game by 20 points if it wants to. Again, I'm going to say Syracuse doesn't care about the game. I think they slip by with the win. I say Greensboro. I give the, what is Greensboro? I think they're the Spartans. I will give them the fighting chance here, a shooter's chance to cover this game, and I will once again go with Greensboro plus the points as your complimentary play. Would I bet it? Hell no. I would rather bet New Orleans in the play-in game. But hey, I had to pick a complimentary play, and that's what I'm siding with. So I wish you well, guys, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.